Anyways.
What's everybody's opinions on lollies?
I don't like them. I'll tell you a story. Once upon a time, inspired from one of Steven's old stories where he visited a well-known, how should I put this, illegal massage parlor.
What's illegal about it?
The services they provide.
What services do they provide?
That's not my story to tell. Anyways, I visited one, and my experience was uncomfortable. I saw some genuine, to what I believe, sex slaves, and among those were people that appeared to be underage, and I've pretty much just been uncomfortable with the whole concept ever since then. So I don't really approve, or it just makes me uncomfortable, I would say. But I don't really have a problem with it online if it's just cartoons.
What do you think of this?
I've been shown a cartoon lolly. It's pretty nice.
I approve. Hell yeah.
Scratch everything I just said. That was pretty sweet.
No, it doesn't bother me if it's hentai.
Steven?
Pretty much the same. If it's fictional friggin' drawings, it's fine.
You mean you can tell the difference between fiction and reality?
Yes, I'm not fucking
Watch your words.
A Twitter idiot.
Oh my goodness. Steven slammed the libs. He said, "Beat it, libtard."
I did.
No, he just. Well, I don't know.
Steven, say it.
Huh? Beat it, libtards, you fucking...
Say it with more bravado, more gusto. You need to start having emotion on this podcast.
I am emoting.
He recently just decided to abstain from politics online, and you're really pushing the envelope here, G-Pool.
I'm having fun. We already hit Lolicon and libtards.
Anything else you're trying to start up?
What's another L word?
I don't like how quickly you laughed at that. What's the other L word?
No, just what's the other L word?
Well, we are watching Latino television.
Latinos are the fucking them damn Latinos.
Whoa!
Of their fucking ground beef and their seasoning.
Their seasoned food.
That's everything. Well, they got so many hot sauces, huh?
Why do they use so much seasoning? Why can't they just appreciate the damn meat?
Turning fucking corn into a damn tortilla.
Just put the steak in the pan and call it a day.
What's wrong with just regular loaf bread, huh? Why you gotta make this flat-ass tortilla, huh?
Why you gotta turn your red meat into other colors besides black? Just burn it and eat it.
Why is your meat pink in the middle? That's not healthy.
Disclaimer! Crossing the Line is not a show intended to bully or harass anyone. Do not go out of your way to find or mess with the authors featured on our podcast. They make what we do possible, and we love them. And you. Thanks. Enjoy.
This is a good episode.
Anyways, today's episode is on Jackie Chan Adventures, the cartoon series.
This is episode 60 of Crossing the Line, a fanfiction podcast where we read, review, and critique fanfiction for your listening pleasure.
What's everybody's well, that was sorry. That was G-Pool. I'm Virgil Vlogs.
I'm Blueberry.
And what's everybody's experience with Jackie Chan Adventures, the TV show?
We just watched an episode to get caught up, but otherwise I can't remember a single thing about it.
I've watched a little bit of it. I played some of the PS2 game also.
Mm-hmm.
The PS2 game is very funny.
Yeah, like I caught certain episodes of it back when Kids WB was a thing.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I don't remember very much from it. I remember Toru, I remember Jackie, I remember Jade and Uncle, but those were like the only characters I remember. Like that fucking Sephiroth-looking ass motherfucker, the main villain.
He's cool.
Yeah, I forgot him. He looks like when we were watching, George mentioned the way his face is shaped, and I said he looks exactly like Bruce Wayne in Beware the Batman.
Yeah, I remember I loved the show as a kid, but it really did not leave any lasting impressions when I was starting to look back at it. I can't remember any of the plot or... Like in season 2, they like Photoshop a new tool on top of Jade's hand instead of whatever the first season one was. It was like that weird box that opens up. Right. But I have no clue what that is.
I feel that. I guess to be fair, we started like season 2, episode 1, which I guess is like past where a lot of major plot takes place.
Well, somebody didn't want to watch the first episode.
That's never a good descriptor.
It's true. It's true. They introduce the characters, but you don't really get to see them in action or how they really are.
You also like a certain Jackie Chan Adventures YouTube poop.
Sure.
Do you care to share the title of that?
I don't remember.
Just look up Jackie Chan Adventures bolted to the floor.
Oh yeah.
What?
YouTube poop. There's only like 2 Jackie Chan Adventures YouTube poops anyway, so you'll find it.
You are bolted to the floor!
That's fair.
Like the guy on the forklift comes up and he comes up again and again, and Toru runs through like 3 times. It's fun. It's very fun.
Look up Toru rolling compilation on YouTube.
Alright.
Well, there's a lot of fan fiction about Jackie Chan Adventures.
There sure
Yeah,
is.
a lot of people remember it better than we do.
Yeah.
I want to say I remember it well, but I'm pretty much in the same boat. I can't remember the plot of any one episode for the life of me.
Yeah.
Me neither. Steven, how about you go first?
Alright, sounds good.
I totally forgot there's the luchador in the whole series until I like saw a clip of the video game the other day. El Toyo Fuerte or whatever his name is.
Yeah, same. My memory is just so scattered of it. Alright, let's see.
Hit us with the big one, Blue Breed.
Dimension 74. It was a bright sunny day in Retroville. Libby Fallfox was out for a walk listening to music. Every now and then she would let out a few burps that sounded like music.
Libby, that's the third L.
This is the one labeled gassy.
Let's see here.
I can't believe you said that.
I just remembered it instantly when she said burp.
The burps were a result of a super power powder. Libby used to have the power to become invisible, but due to a mix-up, she now had super burp powers.
It's pretty cool.
What the hell?
How did being invisible stop it from working?
When did any of this happen?
Wasn't that the invisibility her superpower from that episode where they got the superpowers?
Oh,
Jimmy
God.
turned into Orange Hulk.
God, that must have been fucking beyond when I was watching.
Jimmy Neutron later.
I guess so.
We were gonna watch Super Duper Sumos, but
That's the same stay in its sealed DVD case, never to be unleashed.
It's okay.
It just smells like a big brap the second the wrapping comes off.
You open it up and you immediately power up like they do in the show. Twice an episode for 90 seconds for an 11-minute episode.
It's got to be a contender for the most fetishized children's TV show.
It's up there.
The powers were supposed to wear off, but haven't yet. She was okay with that.
Yeah, she's got super burps.
Dimension 57 is a bright sunny day in Los Angeles. In an antique shop in Chinatown, Jade Chan was listening to music and drinking soda. Every now and then...
That's a recipe for disaster there. And drinking soda.
Every now and then she would let out a burp, and a blast of burp wind would make the ceiling go spinning.
The whole ceiling?
The whole ceiling. In a couple of days, she had gained the power of the wind demon Chi. It had given her explosive burping power. The power...
Who, Libby?
No,
Jade. We're in Dimension 57 now.
Okay.
The power had been removed, but a bit of it still remained with her. Oh well, she was fine with them. She could easily win in any burping contest now. It was a rare occurrence, but at the same frequency and the same time, both Libby from Dimension 74 and Jade from Dimension 57 let out a massive burp. Alright, you two burp in unison. The power.
This is just a scream.
I can't burp on command.
Drink some soda.
I imagine that's what Jade would sound like anyway.
Jade is just making noises to be obnoxious and not actually burping.
Hey, Jackie!
Jackie, listen to this one.
I'm gonna boot you to the floor!
The power and the elements that made these massive burps tore a dimensional hole between their dimensions. A portal appeared right in front of both Libby and Jade, and they were sucked in. They enter a weird world that seemed to be some kind of cross between Libby's world and Jade's world.
God, that must be ugly.
Oh my god, like the fucking abstract nature of friggin' Jackie Chan's backgrounds mixed with the CGI.
Like the low quality CGI backgrounds.
Oh my god.
Hideous.
Who would dare cross those streams?
Someone who thought a Jimmy Timmy Power Hour was a good idea, probably. Jackie Jimmy Power Hour.
Oh my god. The two girls encountered each other. Who are you? Asked Libby. My name is Jade Chan, and you are? Said Jade. My name is Libby, replied Libby. After introductions were made, the two girls looked around. Where are we? And how did we get here? Asked Libby. The last thing I remember was I was listening to music and burping, said Jade. Me too, said Libby.
Wow.
The last thing I remember, I was burping. It was so sweet.
As if that's a significant thing to remember you were doing.
Right?
Sure.
Are your burps special? Asked Jade. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I gained the superpower to burp from science, explained Libby. Watch this, she said. She puffed up her cheeks and let out a burp. Someone do a really big burp.
No.
No.
Alright, George, lay on a really bad sound effect.
No.
Okay. Burp, burped Libby.
Will everyone over Steven saying that?
Everyone's just replaced that soundbite.
Just replace every soundbite for the next 20 minutes.
Just put a burp filter on Steven's voice.
Gross. Anytime Libby talks.
Nice one, said Jade. I got my burp powers from some evil wind demon chi from magic, explained Jade. Watch this, she said. She puffed up her cheeks and let out a burp. She burped. Bravo, said Libby.
Bravo.
Yay!
Anyway,
Yes.
we're in hell.
Yes, bravo, both of you, said a new voice.
Professor Calamity?
The two girls spun around to see a large, mysterious figure. The two of you will make swell contestants in the burp battle, said the figure.
I don't like that.
The burp battle.
I don't like that.
Chapter 2, the Burploids.
The Burploids? Fuck you.
Libby and Jade looked at the mysterious figure. It was a tall alien woman with blue skin and raven hair dressed in a wit coat.
Whoa.
Who are you? And where are we? And what is a burp battle? Asked Libby. You are certainly full of questions.
And yet the burp battle still persists.
I hope you're full of burps, too.
I am Burpula of the Burpoids.
Yeah.
This is the dimension of Burpaloda, and the burp battle's a competition to determine who is the greatest burper in the universe. said
Really? Because I
Burpula.
thought it was a cross of Jimmy Neutron and Jackie Chan universe.
Same thing.
I'm sure this happened to Jimmy Neutron.
Probably. This is probably a real character. What's her name?
Burpula.
Burpula.
The burp talisman.
Oh, Lord.
How did we get here? Asked Jade. I saw, judging by your display of burping talents, that our dimension summoned you here to compete in the burp battle, explained Burpula. I guess that makes sense, said Libby. Come, you two must meet the king and queen, said Burpula.
Come, you two.
No.
I didn't find anything, but I found the first thing that comes up is Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories Part 19 of someone's Let's Play. And Frankenstein versus Count Burpula.
I wouldn't be surprised if part 19 of some person's Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories Let's Play just develops into a burping fetishist.
And Martin Luther King tribute stop motion animation.
Oh my god.
Yeah, same thing.
Oh, there's a YouTube channel called Burpula.
Whoa,
Oh,
where's this
shit.
guy?
Holy shit.
We can only hope. I want to see hot pictures of Burpula.
One
Yeah.
subscriber.
Yeah,
One
it's,
subscriber. Lice treatment 7 years ago. It's their only video.
he re-uploads entire episodes and puts burping sound effects at certain aspects.
Their picture is just blue. The cover photo of sunglasses.
Jesus Christ.
Let's see here. She led them to an enormous-looking castle. She took them to the front gates. Two big, muscular guards armed with spears stood in front of the gates.
Ooh.
"Oh, who goes there?" said the first guard. "I am Burpula of the House of Burpus, and these are two beings from another dimension who pose great burping skills and were summoned by our dimension to compete in the burp battle," said Burpula. The guards eyed the two humans. "They don't look like world-class burpers to me," said the second guard.
And I would know.
He looked.
Brandishes his spear.
World class.
He brandishes his burp.
Just rubs his belly.
He gets really close to their face and burps in their eyes.
Elias, hold that thought. He looked into Jade's face and then burped into it.
Poor Jade, her hair got blown back.
God, that's so horrible.
The guard burped. How do you like that? He said.
Damn. Leans down into this child's eyes and lets one loose right on top of her nose.
How do you like that? Huh? Punk? Bitch?
Tiny. Pathetic.
Prods her with a spear.
Jade looked annoyed. That was weak, she said.
So weak.
She looked into the guard's face and burped. Jade burped. The force of the burp knocked the guard down to the ground.
Whoa.
The guard stood up flabbergasted. "I take it back," he said. "You're a better burper," he admitted.
She might be strong, but let's see how the other one does," said the first guard. He looked into Libby's face and burped.
Let's see how she can handle this this domestic attack, this chemical warfare, if you will.
"I like to see you beat that," said the guard. Libby looked at the guard's face and burped. Libby knocked the guard down. "Okay, you win. Just go right into the noble burpers," said the guard. The three of them entered the castle gates. Unbeknownst to them, a camera was watching them. Two mysterious figures watched the display of burping. "Are they the ones who will help complete our ultimate weapon?" said the first figure. "Yes, the burping talents are amazing. They'll help us, of course, and won't know it until it's too late," laughed the second figure.
Our big Buford will be ready soon enough.
Chapter 3, Meeting the Royals.
How long is this, Steven?
10 chapters. It's okay, I'll go until it gets stupid.
You're gonna meet the king and queen and stare them down and burp in their faces also.
Their eyelids are gonna get flown back.
Burpula led Jade and Libby down a fancy hallway. The hallway is decorated with paintings and statue of burpoids burping. They entered the throne room of the castle. The throne room sat 4 figures, 2 adults and 2 teenagers. Burpula stepped forward, bowed her head, and burped. "Greetings, King Burpo, Queen Warbly."
Queen Warbly?
Queen Warp. Oh my god.
Queen Burpo.
Queen
Edgar.
Queen Borpley, Prince Burpgus, and Princess Burpalicia.
Burpalicia. You better start drawing fan art.
Oh shit. I, Burpula from the House of Burpus, present you of two mighty Burpers from other dimensions who wish to enter the Burp battle, said Burpula. The royal family stood up and examined the two girls. They look young and strong enough to be great Burpers, said King Burpo. Let's not jump to conclusions, dear. Let's have dinner with a lot of drinks and they can give us a demonstration, said Queen Burpley. Must they sit with us at dinner, complained Prince Burgess.
They're so foul and they don't even know how to burp.
I agree with Burgess. These two are not of royal blood and they're not even burpioids, said Burp Alicia. Children, do not be rude to our guests. Now apologize, shouted Queen Burperly.
Apologize.
We're sorry, said the two young royals. You're dismissed. Dinner will be ready in an hour, said King Burpo. The prince and princess left. Wonder what that was about, said Libby. I know, they were so rude, said Jade.
They brought us here.
Please forgive our children. They're usually very nice, said Queen Burpley. That's okay. They have spelled their names differently every time they mention them, and it's pissing me off.
That doesn't matter. They're just burpos.
Just damn burpos.
You've heard of the third L. This is the first B. That's okay, said Libby. Yeah, it's fine, said Jade. Well, that's good to hear. Burpula, please escort our guest to the guest room, said King Burpo. Burpula nodded her head and they left the room. Elsewhere in the castle, Prince Burpgus and Princess Burpalicia were meeting in a secret room filled with all kinds of technology.
Are they really just making up names?
I guess so, yeah.
Funny burp jokes.
On one wall there were a bunch of TV screens displaying Libby and Jade burping the gate guards. In another part of the room there was a massive round machine of tubes and wires. Great performance, sis. You had everybody fuller, said Burpkus. Thank you, brother. You did an excellent part on your job. Everyone thinks we're two dumb royals, so they will never suspect us to launch a coup until it's too late. With the burp energy from all the contestants, we will have enough power to take over and conquer the other dimensions, laughed Burpalicia. She picked up 2 glasses full of soda. A toast and a burp to victory, she said. They drank and burped. Victory was gonna taste sweet.
Gross.
Coop?
Yeah, ever since you started reading this, I've been wondering if this was innocent childhood humor or gross adult fetishism, and the fact that they use the term coop kind of leads into that more adult fetishy line.
Right, exactly.
But we'll see. The scales are tipping.
Jesus Christ. I'm like freaking skimming this chapter, seeing if anything of actual relevance happened. It's just them burping at dinner. Okay. Chapter 5.
Steven, that is relevant.
No, it's not. We know what happens. They burp.
At dinner.
It's funny. They drink big sodas.
They drink a big 7-Up and burp at the king. He laughs.
The king said, let's make sure there's plenty to drink. I want to see them in action.
The king bans all non-carbonated drinks, including water.
That's why they invented LaCroix.
That's why their species is dying. There's no water.
The burpoids are so dehydrated.
They keep burping their hydration away.
They expend all their life
Just lay
energy.
on the ground, be like,
It's like a Rick and Morty episode.
God, it's better than Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty can never be so funny as to come up with the burpoids.
That's so low.
It was a bite morning. Libby and Jade woke up and were escorted out of the castle to a carriage. The carriage took them to a large coliseum. The stand was packed with burpoids, a handsome male burpoid and a pretty female burpoid with microphones were the announcers.
Ooh.
Did they establish what the burpoids look like? They're like tall, purple, blue alien type things?
Nope.
They said Burpulo was like blue, but that was about it. They said blue alien.
Said slender blue alien.
Mm-hmm.
Could be the blue-eyed biddy-da-ba-die aliens.
I imagine that was the liquid aliens from Futurama. The ones that drink each other.
Perfect.
Here.
The male picked up his mic and burped.
Yeah, okay.
The announcer just burps into the mic. It's
Mic
just
test.
test.
Blows out the speaker.
Good day, folks, and welcome to another fabulous burp battle. I'm Burpack, said the male announcer. The female announcer picked up her mic and burped. And I'm Burpacy, said the female announcer. Let's meet our 8 contestants, said Burpax.
Whoa.
Libby, Jade, and 6 burpoids walked to the middle of the Coliseum. Here are all the contestants. Let's introduce our male contenders. First we have Burpston, said Burpax, pointing to a thin burpoid with glasses. Next we have, oh my god, Burpicus Max. Okay, that was a lot easier to read than I thought. It was a really long name.
Burpicus Maximus?
Yeah, Burpicus Maximus, Burpstone, and Burpdon.
Burpstone.
Burpstone, yes,
Good old Burpstone.
said Burpax, indicating a muscular burpoid, a handsome burpoid, and a chubby burpoid. Now that the males are introduced, let's introduce the female contenders. First, we have our 2 special guests from 2 completely different dimensions. Libby and Jade, said Burpacy as Libby and Jade waved to the crowd.
Woo! Yeah.
Next, we have Burpera and Burpily, said Burpacy, indicating a tall burpoid with long hair and a short one with pigtails. Here's the lineup for the first round, said Burpax. A list of who is facing who appear on the screen. Alright, so here's
It's
the,
like Battle of the Bands. Battle of the Burps.
Alright, so here's the bracket. First is Burpston versus Libby, then
Ooh.
Burpily versus Jade, Burpura versus Burpton, Burpicus Maximus versus Burpstone.
Oh my god. Absolute titans.
Burpstone is just a blue Fred Flintstone.
I was thinking it was like Sunstone from Steven Universe, but just blue, but that's way better. Just a fucking liar, big
Fred
fat liar,
Burpstone.
Fred.
Burpicus Maximus is just like the drawing of the Chad meme, but blue.
He's Oars from One Piece.
Giant creature.
1,000 feet tall.
Versus blue Fred Flintstone.
Who's got the bigger burps?
I don't know, Fred Flintstone could stub a toe really good.
Blow his whole toenail off with his burp.
Oh my god.
Ow. That would hurt. That'd be the enemy.
Just fall over dead.
Let the burping begin.
Woo!
The first round of the burp, we're on chapter 6, by the way. The chapters are really short, thankfully.
Burp, 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 burp.
The first round of the burp battle is about to begin. Burpston and Libby enter the center of the Coliseum. I thought I was going to call it the burp chamber.
The call of burpum.
Before we start, let me explain the rules, said Burpax. The contestants must produce a loud burp. In order to win, the contestant must burp louder and longer than their opponent. If their burp knocks down their opponent, they win, explained
Whoa.
Burpax.
That's cool.
I want to do that.
You want to burp Elias over?
No.
To draw the Shonen tournament arc.
True.
3D imported models of Libby.
Yeah.
I want to make that a modest smash.
It's like when Chris Chan photoshops himself into his comic.
Now that the rules are explained, let's start the burp battle, said Burpacy. Libby and Burpston stepped forward and shook hands. Best of luck to you, said Libby. I don't need any luck. By my calculations, there's very little chance you will defeat me, said Burpston as he took off his glasses and cleaned them.
Burped into them.
Burpton's a nerd.
He is.
Libby glared at him. The bell rung to start the battle. Burpston launched the first burp. The burp slammed into Libby and knocked her back a little.
Oh, I thought I was gonna say knocked her over instantly.
Instantly killing her.
True, we don't know what happens to the losers.
They
Let's
get
see.
sent into the burp hole.
Oh no. They get made into soda.
The home for infinite burpers.
Let's see here. She launched her own burp at Burpston. The burp slammed into Burpston and staggered back several steps. His glasses fogged up a little bit. He glared at...
Hot burp.
His glasses fogged up a little bit. He glared at Libby and launched another burp at her. The burp slammed into Libby. Her hair flew up and she staggered back, almost falling down. She puffed up her cheeks and launched a burp back at Burpston. The burp slammed into Burpston and made his hair fly up. His glasses shattered and he fell to the ground.
Got him.
Amazing! Libby has won the first round of the burp battle.
He broke his glasses.
She broke his fucking body.
She broke his spirit. Never to burp again.
The first round was over. No, not review, go back. Chapter 7.
You sure you don't want to review it?
Not yet, we have 3 more chapters. Thankfully, they're all short. Here. The Burpoid medics put Burpston on a stretcher.
The Burpoid meta became even...
It turned out Burpston wasn't as viable as they initially believed. They moved Burpston to lower tier instead of mid tier.
His BSP went down, or his GBP went down so far.
His BSP.
No, his GBP, his global burp point.
Oh god. Burpston looked at Libby with respect in his eyes.
On a stretcher. You're like,
Oh.
I was wrong. You are truly the better burper. It was an honor to face you. Forgive my rudeness, said Burpston. That's okay. You're pretty tough. I forgive you, replied Libby.
I forgive you. Go to the hospital and die.
Fuck you. Get out of here.
go into cardiac arrest and never burp again.
I forgive you, but your ancestors will not.
10 decades of familial shaming.
You got burp in your species name. How'd you lose, man? Thank you, said Burpston as the medics carried him out.
Oh.
Libby left the center of the Coliseum. Time for the second round, said Burpax. Jade entered the center, followed by Burpley.
The Coliseum is just like the arena from the tuning exams with the big fist in the background.
I was imagining that, or like the Coliseum from the friggin' tournament arc of, what's it called? Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh,
Yeah, me
dark
too.
tournament.
Yeah.
That's what I pictured for like our first episode with the Dragon Ball Z Rabbids crossover where they're in the tournament and Vegeta was embarrassed or whatever.
Yeah. I'm starting to imagine friggin' Burpicus Maximus as the fucking bad guy with the shades and the gross muscles.
He is not Tagoro.
Toguro.
It turned out Burpicus Maximus was Tagoro from Yu Yu Hakusho.
And I'm only using 80% of my burps.
Give me an orange juice.
Drinking an orange juice and burping.
I only need orange juice, no soda for me. Jade entered the center, followed by Burpley. Burpley was sporting a yellow dress with a skirt. She was playing with her pigtails. The contestants stepped aside to shake hands. Best of luck to you, said Jade. Same to you. But you're going down, said Burpley. She launched a burp at Jade.
Damn, sideswiped her.
Yeah, the match hadn't even started yet. That's a cheap shot.
Jade staggered back a little from the burp. Jade puffed up her cheeks and burped. Burpley staggered back and quickly launched a counter burp.
I don't like the the pumping up of the cheeks before you burp.
That doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It just makes it harder. It just makes it to where you breathe in their face.
You just have more air and less, like, it's not gonna work out, man.
This isn't the big bad wolf. You're not fucking exhaling.
Blow your house down. Burps are gross.
I'm glad that's a conclusion. That is a good conclusion to come to. Jade staggered back and almost lost her balance. She quickly regained it and launched another burp. Burpley's skirt flew up, revealing her panties. The crowd, holy, this is a fucking adult thing, holy shit.
I know how to pick them.
You're right. The crowd laughed. Burpley
laughed?
Yeah.
They all stood up, pointed, and laughed.
Ha!
Ha!
They all stood up, pointed, and burped. Burpley was red with anger and embarrassment. She glared at Jade and launched a burp.
So they have red blood under their blue skin. Interesting.
Jade's hair flew up, her eyes watered, and she nearly fell down.
Oh, so much burp.
She regained her balance. She regained her balance and launched another burp at Burpley. Burpley's dress flew off, leaving her in her underwear. The braids that held her pigtails flew off, and she fell to the ground dazed.
That's actually beautiful, actually.
I know, right?
Have they confirmed whether the characters think the burps are gross yet?
No.
No, their society is based on it.
There are species of burps, and Jade and Libby just kind of agree.
Jade and Libby are real, you know.
It's
They're
two
freaking chads. They just marched in there and destroyed their society with their burps.
Their impeccable burping prowess.
Like, blowing their nails, or like, yeah, I guess I'll freaking own you all.
A CG black girl in this fucking 2D beast from the east. Let's see. Jade has won the second round of the burp battle, said Burpusy. The crowd clapped. 2 more rounds before the final 4. Chapter 8.
4.
The elite burps.
I hope it just skims past the other ones, because I don't care about them.
Let's see, this one has the 3rd and 4th, so it means
Skip it.
Huh?
I don't care about the not Libby and not...
You know, the finals are just gonna be Libby versus...
I want to see
Jade.
Burpicus Maximus versus Burpstone at least.
Me too.
Let's see here.
I hate Burbicus Maximus.
He's gonna specifically call you out, George, in this fanfiction.
You said he looks like Tagoro, but I was thinking he looks like Bolby.
The crowd cheered as medics quickly carried away Burpton on a stretcher to clear the arena for the next contestants. It was Burpicus Maximus versus Burpstone.
Yeah!
Woo! The contestants entered the arena. They stepped up to shake hands. Best of luck to you, said Burpicus Maximus. Same to you, said Burpstone.
Same to you.
Burpstone.
Same to you.
The round began. Burpstone launched the first burp. Yeah, but damn it. The burp
This is a
hit.
bad episode. Sorry, everybody.
It was a bad story. The burp hit
Imagine
Burpicus Maximus.
if the people that if this is gonna be their first episode and it's just nothing but burps and us actually burping.
You're right.
I hate listening to burps on audio.
It's alright, we'll read Burpicus Maximus and then I'll just skip to the fucking end of who won. The burp hit Burpicus Maximus. He staggered back a little. That was excellently well executed. You are truly a noble burper, but I cannot hold back. Prepare yourself, said Burpicus Maximus.
Oh no.
He's transforming.
He puffed up his cheeks and burped, and then there's like 3 lines of the word burp extended.
He killed Genkai.
He killed fucking John Goodman. The burp.
John Goodman.
He's Fred Flintstone but blue.
Ew.
The burp slammed into the burpstone and knocked him down.
Oxygen deprived Floyd Flintstone.
Do you remember when you made John Goodman in your wrestling video game and then you gave him a Fred Flintstone all with a gross smear on his undies.
It's true. They didn't have a friggin' like pelt that was long enough to cover his knees, so you could see his fucking tidy whities, and I just put a brown splotch on the back of him. And
78,000 followers, all gone because of this.
It's funny. In his intro, he shakes his ass.
He's proud of it.
Yeah, he shit his pants. He's very strong. You win, said Burpstone. You did great, said Burpicus Maximus.
Burpstone's face like caved in on itself.
That's a very funny image.
It is.
Fred Flintstone, Tootie's face caved in.
His nose is just inside. God.
It's here. Oh my god, the last chapter is just fucking...
Oh my god.
It's strong.
It's
Oh my god! It just keeps on!
It's like 50 lines of B, then U, then R, then P.
That's the last chapter. I wonder whose Megaton burp that was.
The burp N. Ugh. Okay, so before Libby and Jade could face off, someone interfered, and then everyone combined their burps apparently to defeat them. And
It must have been the prince and princess
yeah,
who were trying to create the ultimate burping device.
I want to see the comments on this. Anyway, the end.
I rate that Libby and Jade Chan in a picture together, brapping their clothes off. Not brapping, burping. Those are
I was
different.
about to say.
Burping their clothes off of each other out of 10.
I rate that Fred Burpstone line in a stretcher saying, "You have my respect," with his face caved in.
Alright. Oh god. I rate that the fucking immovable object versus an unstoppable force ending within 3 seconds.
Steven, what would you do if you were spending a night with a beautiful woman and she was going to offer services to you, and when she bent down and got your willy whacker out, she was about to go in and she just let out a long, loud burp against it?
So hard you could feel it in your shaft.
Yeah.
Down the
your
hole.
shaft, down the hole. Blew your foreskin back.
Down the hole, that hurt. Blowing air into like a fucking balloon.
No, it's from long distance range.
Yeah,
Oh my
she
God.
blows air into your urethra and goes, "Gear third," and your balls pump.
Ball balloon.
Your balls.
I hate this situation.
What would you do?
He just looks up at you and smiles expectantly.
This beautiful smile.
I fucking kick her ass.
Leave.
And she goes, wait. And she presses your balls and it makes a whoopee cushion sound.
And then my dick
Flops around at the end of the whoopee cushion.
My dick is super small for a temporary time.
She says, wait, and then
For a temporary time.
she says, wait, and starts doing it again, making him even bigger, and you're like, "Get up! Stop!"
Stop! No giant dick. Alright, there's like 8 comments, and they're all nice, cool, lol, short but good.
Yeah, it's true.
I see somebody said nice like 5 times.
Yeah.
He's preaching to the choir. I like that cool advertisement.
Yeah.
Was that an American Buck camo t-shirt?
Something like that. I don't know.
God bless us, everyone.
Dress Lily, whatever that is. Anyway, so that's the end of my fucking story.
That was incredible.
Indeed. What a ride.
I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 of our stories end up having some Jade kink in them.
It's funny you say that. I'd like to go next, and also it's really short, but
Okay.
all the comments. I'll read a couple of the comments.
No.
I like
Okay.
the part where the Brapoid farts in their face really hard.
It's the exact same story verbatim, just with farting instead of burping.
Chapter
And they're
10.
the Brapoids.
Gross.
Yeah.
I could read an actual... I don't want to be mean, so I won't, but
No.
I have a more complete story I could read, but I'm just going to read a short one because I feel like this one would be good.
Okay.
This opens with like a poem. It says, oh, it's a quote from a movie. Okay, so, rest in peace. One kiss, my bonny sweetheart. I'm after a prize tonight, but I shall be back with the yellow gold before the morning light. Yet, if they press me sharply and harry me through the day, then look for me by moonlight, watch for me by moonlight. I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell shall bar the way. Alfred Noyles, the Highwayman. Ooh. It was nighttime. It was nighttime in Domino City.
That side.
Domino City.
The moon was full, and the wind sang through the trees like the song of a siren. But on this night, something was about to happen. Her amber eyes glowed half with excitement and half with fear as Jade Chan, 12, walked through the cemetery.
Very important.
Her raven's hair looked like it could be blended in with the shadows itself. She was wearing her usual outfit, white long sleeves, t-shirt covered by an orange hooded sweatshirt, blue jeans, and red shoes. Usually, walking at night would leave any other girl unnerved, but Jade was no ordinary girl. She liked walking at night. It was really soothing and very enlightening. Plus, she felt she was able to clear her head. To her, the night was lovely, but also a mystery, even unto itself. Even she thought so. After all, she felt the night held mystery and intriguement. Well, 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 said a voice. It was deeply masculine, and with an England accent. What have I here? Such a beautiful young lady. Jade stopped, pulled from her musings. Eyes wide, she looked around, wondering where the voice had come from. It also sounded kind of familiar. I'm right here, love. She turned, and there he was, in front of her. The white hair that was so spiky and wild, the dark brown eyes, and, she had heard of and so feared this part most of all, the gleaming white teeth and his evil smile. There was no question about it. It was none other than Yami Bakura.
I thought Domino Town sounded familiar.
He was wearing a blue and white striped shirt covered by a black trench coat that swished around his ankles, blue Levi's, and a pair of white and blue striped shoes. Yami Bakura, she said, her amber orbs now filled with shock and fear. You snake! How dare you! Trying to get me alone in a cemetery! Yami Bakura replied, smirking still. Yes, and I intended to find you out here anyway. Who would have thought I could find such a beautiful female such as yourself, alone, walking at night? You see, my dear Jade, I sense a power. Well, not really so much as a power, more like fire, just smoldering beneath the ashes.
I'm going to light you on fire to appease the cemetery spirits.
So to speak.
I think it's time to let that fire burn. Jade began walking backwards as Yami Bakura began walking towards her, his evil smirk still in place. The butterflies of timidness and fear began fluttering in her mind and behind her eyes as she continued to walk in reverse. However, she soon backed into a tree, and was soon trapped. Then Yami Bakura placed his hands on either side of her head. Look at me. Look. His right index fingers made contact with her chin, and suddenly she shivered at his touch as her eyes were captured by his own cold, dark chocolate ones. They held her. She was unable to look away. He ran his left hand down her body. He's going to rape me, Jade thought, scared.
Oh my god, not Yami Bakura.
She closed her amber eyes. Her fear was unfounded, however.
Let's go, Yami.
When she opened her eyes...
Steven!
You getting it?
You're grounded!
I'm Googling Yami Bakura because I'm picturing the character from Jackie Chan Adventures as we just watched it, but I know he doesn't look like that.
Yeah, he's from Yu-Gi-Oh!
He's like the relic hunter guy who has the Exodia piece,
Yeah.
right?
He has the ring.
Yeah.
Oh
He's got
god.
the big hair.
Oh yeah, he's got the Millennium Puzzle piece.
The Millennium Ring.
Yeah. As you remember from the YouTube parody series, his gaydar.
That's funny.
Yeah. He's always, I mean, I don't have to explain myself, never mind. There was a lot of horny people for him on Tumblr, I do remember that much. And on YouTube.
It's true. Are we gonna do the Lorax episode?
There are a lot of horny people for the Launcelot.
Now that you mention it, there's probably a lot of that. Lorax crossovers.
Oh my god, you're right.
Anyways, he ran his left hand down her body, and she said he's going to rape me, but her fear was unfounded. Then she felt his right hand stroking her cheek. She then remembered something she had read. Oh, I skipped around. In a book about vampires one time in the Domino Library. Vampires usually have icy cold touches whenever their hand comes in contact with a mortal skin. It takes all the heat from them and makes them shiver. Blinking, Jade then looked innocently at Yami Bakura. Yami Bakura? He grinned maliciously. Do not fear me, little mouse. Then he leaned in and placed his mouth over hers in a sensual kiss.
Oh no.
Wow.
At first, Jade was shocked. This guy, Yami Bakura, was kissing her.
Jade looked back to what she learned back in a class forever ago. If you shoot someone with a gun, they die.
If you shoot a vampire with a gun, they die. For a moment, the feeling of wanting to slap him went through her mind, but soon that option disappeared as she gave into the kiss. Then Yami Bakura licked her lower lip, asking for permission to enter, and she opened her mouth.
Enter where?
Whoa, she thought. He tastes like crimson sweetness and sugar. I had no idea that he tasted really good.
That's pretty cool.
Such a fine specimen of feminine beauty, Yami Bakura thought. She tastes so exquisite, sweet, and a little hint of strawberry. Finally, when they pulled back for oxygen, Jade was the first to speak. Wow, that was amazing. Yami Bakura smirked as he slid his arm around her waist in a possessive way. Yes, he replied. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes.
You taste so sweet, my love. My love? She queried. What do you mean? Yami's Bakura's smirk grew wider as the puzzle looked on... at the puzzled look on her face. Thought he was going to say this puzzle, activated. I was like, what does that mean?
He just starts pointing at her.
Yeah.
Smirked as he pulled out the last leg of Exodia.
Sends her to the shadow realm.
She pulls out the Exodia friggin' medallion.
The Millennium Puzzle?
Nah, she has a fucking amulet or whatever that's just Exodia.
I'm not finding the Lorax anywhere.
It's either under book, cartoon, or movies.
Well, I'm just looking under all.
Ah,
I
okay.
don't see Lorax or the Lorax.
Oh, interesting.
I'm going to acknowledge that this escalates and then he chases her into the woods and just stop reading. But, that was my story.
Alright, let's see. I give that a... what's the word? Let's see, George, you go first. You need to formulate.
It is a underage horny out of 10.
I rate that the Millennium Pedophilia ring.
I was gonna say Millennium Lolicon out of 10. Hell yeah.
Damn, you were right when you introed this episode. This is about Jade. I didn't expect that.
Remember when this was about the fucking lighthearted Jackie Chan adventures? We go from fucking Libby and Jade burping to Jade getting fucked.
Jade Chan is like the most fucked cartoon character on the internet.
She's definitely one of them.
I forgot about that. It's been a while since I've seen any of that.
Oh,
A lot of people did just because she's so small.
I know that you say that. I actually do remember seeing that on Rule 34 forums and stuff back in the day.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, she was like the poster child, quoting, no pun intended.
I see.
Oh yeah, I remember friggin' Pal Comics
Because
Center.
she's a
too.
child.
For new listeners, we don't usually read very sexually explicit stories. We usually just try to find interesting or funny ones.
Yeah.
But this was inevitable, it seems.
It is what it is. We're gonna come across at least one.
Or two.
One,
Or
two,
three.
or three. Alright, George, give us the fucking gaseous ashes.
What?
I just wanted to read a funny Jackie Chan Yu-Gi-Oh story.
And instead you got Bakura rape.
Yeah.
Core rape. Fucking Jade burping. Alright, George, save the podcast, please.
Please.
Okay, this story starts out with a disclaimer that just says, I own and regret nothing.
I love when they do that.
I'm already not okay.
For the viewers at home, most of these stories start with I don't own any of these properties, which is obviously nobody that writes for these shows are making these stories.
The name of the medium is fanfiction. It's in the name of what they're doing. They know they're not owning anything.
Well, they don't want a lawsuit on their hands.
I mean, even so.
If Jackie Chan found out Jade Chan were caught up in all this burping, he would come to their house and kick their ass for real.
If he found out that Yu-Gi-Oh man touched Jade, man, ooh. He'd break the Millennium Puzzle with his bare hands.
So when these people write, I do own all of these things, this is mine, it's very funny.
Jackie Chan is personally going to trace the IP of the author.
Jackie Chan's gonna solve the Millennium Puzzle like a Rubik's Cube and throw in a lake.
Alright, I solved it. In the lake it goes.
This is too easy.
I'm locking it up with Jade's other toys.
No one should be burdened with this easy puzzle.
Burn.
Jackie, I found this ancient relic.
When Yugi was praised as it. We're writing our own fan fiction right now.
Who is Exodia?
Uncle finds an ancient Japanese relic from Egypt and
And then the British guy presents him with a whole briefcase of trading cards to get it.
and then he says no and he kills him.
He hospitalizes him over trading cards, so then Jackie has to take Uncle's deck and battle him.
That's the real first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Look it up.
Jay.
Yugi's grandpa gets hospitalized from Kaiba in a card game.
They're like, he's like, look, Yugi, I found this rare card. And then Kaiba goes to his house and hospitalizes him because he won't give it up.
It's like, listen, old man, I'll give you all the cards in the world. No.
Why doesn't he just go to Pegasus's island and get it that way?
Jade.
There's only 4 Blue Eyes in existence. There's not any more prints. And
Just
Kaiba already
print
has 3.
more.
That would ruin the value of the cards.
Jade,
Right.
I would like you to have this black dragon picture thing that I stole from this Brooklyn man.
If there were Blue Eyes cards everywhere, Kaiba wouldn't care because it's not rare anymore.
That's true.
Kaiba's a hype beast.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Chan beat the
He
shit
threatened
out
to
of
kill
Jade.
himself over a game. He said, I will walk off this cliff if you don't let me win, Yugi. I'm serious.
What a bitch.
Yugi's like, oh.
Kaiba, no!
Then die, Kaiba.
Then perish. Yami was gonna do it too, but then little Yugi overpowered him with his spirit. He said, no, he's actually going to do it. You don't understand. Kaiba's a menace to himself and the world around him.
Times were different in the Pharaoh Yami's time.
He's the one paying for this tournament. If he dies, we won't get paid.
That was Battle City. That was different.
We have to take second place or lose.
That is so funny. He's just shallowly keeping him alive because he wants to get paid.
That's not what I meant, but you're right.
Alright, go ahead, George.
I mean, Joey's sister needs that money.
Joey's sister needs 30% of that money.
That's enough.
I looked at her medical bills.
I ran the brass taxes. I need more. My problems are worse than hers. Anyway. El Toro Fuerte sighed as he looked at himself in the mirror. More specifically, he looked at the talisman that was encrusted into his mask. Ever since he found this talisman in those ruins, true, it had made him a world-famous wrestler and restored people's interests in the noble profession of luchador wrestling. On the other hand, was this right? El Toro! El Toro! El Toro! El Toro immediately put away these thoughts as his number 1 fan, Paco, burst into the room,
Oh, Paco.
a rare look of concern on his face.
Paco, like, oh no, it's Pablo. I was gonna say the fucking penguin backyard again.
Oh, it's Paco, his number 1 fan from the show.
Okay.
A rare look of concern and not admiration.
El Toro is actually in the Jackie Chan.
No, I know. He's the luchador dude.
El Toro looked at him concerned. Paco, what is wrong? Paco panted from the effort of running. El Toro, the walking apocalypse is challenging you! By the way, I don't know how these characters actually sound. I'm sorry if this is offensive.
Oh, you're okay?
For a moment, El Toro paled, who hadn't heard of Killbane prior, aka the Walking Apocalypse, a mountain of a man who was the most feared luchador who ever lived.
Okay, I thought it was fucking Apocalypse as in the thing that killed Superman.
I was like, this is gonna be a hard fight, bro. Come on.
That'd be cool. It's suplex him to death.
I hope this is a Mucha Lucha crossover.
The death.
Killbane Pryor. The death of El Toro. Let's see.
Death of the Flea.
I don't want to see
Flea.
this child getting torn apart by Apocalypse.
Flea's gonna die for real.
He put up a fight, though. Apocalypse's senses were so bashed by his stink. He absolutely had to end him.
He reared his ugly head back and did fucking Bowser's melee forward smash, killing him instantly.
Let's see. A controversial figure who not only took his victims' masks, but their heads as well. He literally ripped their heads off with his bare hands. Something tells me Killbane Pryor isn't a Jackie Chan character. Just as easily as these fears came, they dissipated as the reassuring surge of magic flowed from the Ox Talisman. El Toro Fuerte smirked. If ever there was a justification for using such underhanded means, it was bringing down a monster like that. He gave Paco a reassuring pat on the head. Fear not, Paco. That criminal will never be able to stand to a true luchador. When these hands are crushing your throat, your dying breath won't be an appeal to God. It'll be, thank you, Killbane. That was what Killbane had predicted to El Toro before the match. It had come true. El Toro Fuerte was dead.
Oh my god.
What?
No! Screamed a sobbing Paco.
Poor Paco.
He's dead already?
Paco's only claim to fame was being his only fan.
Killbane held the former luchador's head in the palm of his hand. Alas, poor Toro. I kicked your ass, mocked Killbane with a laugh.
Killbane from Saints Row?
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like a fucking Saints Row.
The walking apocalypse.
That's-
Killbane.
That's so funny. Holy shit.
But despite the bravado he was showing to the booing crowd, he was confused. Not only had he had a thug break Toro's leg before the fight, he also bribed the drug tester to inject him with a poison to make his muscles weaker.
What the
And
fuck?
yet this guy, a man only half his size, had been able to overpower him multiple times.
El Toro still chose to fight after all that? That guy is a fucking champ.
He's honorable.
He's stronger than Superman. Jesus Christ.
Killbane.
Broke his leg, was poisoned into muscle atrophy.
And still overpowered him.
Jesus.
He still overpowered him and he just pulled out a pistol. He's like, that's enough of that. Shot him.
He kept using command grabs.
Killbane would never admit to it, but he'd only won because Toro's makeshift cast had broken, hurting him long enough for Killbane to gain the upper hand. No matter how much he looked at it, he made no. Hello, what have we here? Thought Killbane to himself as he spotted a strange gleam off the ox symbol on the bloody mask. Curious, he touched it. Zap! And just like that, the future became a little darker.
Well, Killbane's actually strong now.
Chapter 2.
Not just a cheater.
Oh wow, this person has an author's note where they're getting a book published.
What?
Whoa, is it this? Did Jackie Chan give him permission?
On the 13th day of the 13th month of the 13th year, magic will return to the world, and the streets will run red with the blood of the semi-innocent, unless the world is saved by the most unlikely of heroes. Baking cupcakes? The title is 131313, and it'll be coming to a bookstore or ebook site near you. Zilbrus is the publisher, also available on Amazon, Inkit, and Barnes & Noble. You want to look
Whoa.
that up for me?
Sure.
Here, I'll look it up. All this shit.
Just 13/13/13.
That actually sounds super familiar. My eyes widened the minute you said that title. I feel like I've seen that in Barnes somewhere.
That would be so cool.
Our friend Just Seconds writing a book now.
13/13/13 full movie?
No, look up
That
the
can't.
book.
Yeah, it can't be. No way.
I don't know. What's the date on that movie?
Let me see. Let me look up the book
What's the name of the author of the story?
By Dakota Umloff. Yeah, that looks like it. That looks like it.
Okay, that looks more like a fan fiction book.
That's cool.
The Cowardly Christian.
Yep.
Yep.
Alright, so let's see.
You can buy that with your real money.
It's almost 200 pages. Good on him.
Oh shit, yeah. 6 chapters.
It is very much a children's book, or formatted like one.
We both got the same fucking PDF on Google.
Yeah.
Nice. Go buy 13/13/13 on Google.
Buy 13/13/13. Make the movie.
Support your local fanfic writers.
Dr. WB. Make the death of El Porto real.
El Porto.
I forgot his name.
El Toro.
Oh, the bull, that's right.
Fierte.
El Poro.
El Poro. He's so poor.
Portugal.
Matt Miller couldn't believe it. He was holding a semi-truck above his head with his bare hands, and all thanks to this glowing bauble.
Now it can be really illegal.
His glowing bauble, what is he, Chris Bores? Jesus Christ. I even get a glass bauble for completing the level. Wonder what this does. Wow, I can lift this truck. With this, I can do anything. I can get a Ghostbuster on my show for an episode for the first time in 5 years for some reason.
It's cool.
I do want to watch that episode.
Watch Chris Bores. Watch the irate gamer.
Shush!
Support Chris Bores. He needs it.
Fair enough.
He needs to stop coming to our town.
Don't support Spoonie.
That's irrelevant.
Support Chris Bores, but don't support Spoonie.
I don't like Spoonie. I just needed to get that out there.
Support Chris Bore's ghost content so he can survive better on
Yes,
his, as his own
support
thing.
Chris Bores' ghost content. Don't support the irate gamer.
Yeah, exactly. Support his actual self-made shit.
Kilbane gestured to Matt. You see? What did I tell you? He and Matt were in the penthouse with the other syndicate head honchos, Viola, Kiki, and of course, Felipe Lauren himself. Felipe nodded. Indeed. You were right to bring this to our attention, Mr. Kilbane. This could prove to be quite lucrative for us. He turned to his other subordinates. Viola, you and your sister take this talisman to our scientists and see what they make of it. Mr. Matt, gather any and all intel you can find on this relic and anything similar to it. He then dismisses them as they go to do their various tasks. Felipe watches as Kilbane leaves. It didn't kid him. He didn't kid himself. Kilbane was a ruthless, ambitious one, if not for the fact Felipe was one of the few people he respected, and his current situation was too lucrative to consider shaking things up. Felipe shook his head. Well, it didn't matter right now. Right now, he'd just keep having Eddie watched, and preparing to curtail these rising stars, the Saints. A week later. Valmont didn't know what was happening. This morning, he had a head of a powerful crime organization, and now... What do you mean all my bank accounts are empty? He demanded of his banker. Probably a computer glitch, said the banker over the phone nervously.
Where you spent all your money?
You know, it could be your fault and not mine. Just a suggestion.
It is your money that you spent, maybe.
It does show here that you spent literally all of it, so...
You spent all of it on pizza rolls and a trip to Mexico.
We called you 30 times, and every call you responded that it was an authorized expenditure, so...
We had to call you between every transaction to make sure you really wanted to spend all of your money, and you kept saying yes.
But we'll look into it for you just in case, I guess.
We'll get back to you on it. Valmont growled. He didn't have time for this nonsense. The talisman hunt had hit one setback after another. First, Section 13 had become aware of his quest. This Jade Chan pest and his meddling, the loss of both rooster and rabbit talismans, the baffling disappearance of the ox, not to mention the odd interference that was preventing his sources from finding any others. Mr. Valmont, you have a Mr. Kilbane to see you, said his secretary over the intercom. Valmont snarled. Not now! Oh wait, isn't Valmont's the bad guy?
Yeah.
The Jade Chan bad
The
guy.
main bad guy.
I totally forgot.
Oh.
That's why he was saying he lost the other talismans.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
totally forgot that this slipped from Felipe to Valmont.
Yeah.
Valmont's money's been stolen by him.
Okay. Valmont snarled. Not now, Sherry. I'm busy. Mr. Valmont, I'm not sure I'm adequately emphasizing the size of Mr. Kilbane. She trailed off nervously.
He killed El Toro.
No one could do that.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
Shoo him away!
Security.
Tell him.
Security. Come and secure me. That's a Black Dynamite joke for you. Watch Black Dynamite.
Support Black Dynamite.
In these trying times.
Valmont rubbed his forehead. What was wrong with everybody today? Why were they being so insolent? I said I don't. Boom! Valmont barely dodged a screaming Toru as he flew through his office door, over his head through the adjacent wall, and fell like a stone to the street below.
Holy shit.
To the street below. Holy crap.
Yeah. It was only then that Valmont gasped by what Sherry meant by size. Kilbane grabbed Valmont by the throat and lifted him into the air.
Kilbane did to Toru what that fucking birding instructor did to the one student in SpongeBob. He picked him up by the head and fucking threw him through a wall.
No eating in my classroom.
How's it taste?
Your dark hand belongs to us now, and your friend will be dealing with us from now on. Capiche? It wasn't a question. Valmont gulped but nodded. He cursed himself for not recognizing Kilbane's name. Valmont was no fool. When the syndicate asked for something, you gave it. A couple days later. But Jackie! No buts, Jade. You're not taking the rabbit talisman to show off to your classmates. Our job needs to remain a secret, not to mention the danger exposing such magic to the world could do.
This is the same plot as the one we watched.
Yeah. Before Jade can retort, crack. All the power went out in the entire Section 13 base. Jackie's hair went on end. He had a bad feeling about this. Jade, forget what I just said. Grab the talismans and go, said Jackie firmly as he reached toward a katana. Jade looked at him confused. What, Jackie? Jade, go now! Jade flinched. She'd never heard him that panicked before. She quickly grabbed the two talismans and made a break for it. Boom! Suddenly there was an explosion on the far side of the base. Jade couldn't see what was happening, but she could hear the gunfire and the sound of Section 13 agents being overrun and gunned down. Jade ran. For the first time ever in her life, no longer felt like a cool cartoon, just a nightmare M-rated game. For the first time coming here, she felt like the little kid she tried so hard not to be. She was running scared away from the action with the talismans. The talismans! She slapped her forehead. She'd been so busy panicking she'd forgotten about them. She tried to pull them out of her pockets while running, but her pockets was too confined and her stupid wallet was in the way. Not having a choice, she ducks into a room to hunker down and bring out the talismans in peace. She opened the door. Zap! And gets hit by a green energy beam. Gah! Sorry, Jade. The power outage put this bad boy on the fritz. Oh boy, you just got hit by a bunch of chronoparticles.
This is the episode we watched!
Oh
God
my
dang it!
fucking god.
We need you to get you to medbay. Bang! Those were the last words Kepler ever uttered before a sniper blew his head to bits.
Jordan,
What?
I swear to God, if you read this and then you chose that episode specifically.
I did not.
Okay, holy shit.
Kepler just died!
Steven doesn't care.
Who fucking cares about Kepler? He's a fucking loser.
He doesn't believe in magic. He only
That's
believes
true.
in proof.
Kepler
That's true.
sucks. You can kill him off in the first episode of season 2. I don't care.
Exactly. Science, who needs it?
Let's see.
Hey Jackie, what'd you think of Kepler being killed off on his debut episode? Hey, fucking.
Who?
Who is Kepler?
Oh, that guy who lives in the
I
basement.
specifically asked for my character never to talk to that character.
Kepler is,
I don't like him.
Kepler is based on my opinion of Scientology. It must fucking die.
Let's see. There was the last words Kepler ever uttered before Sniper blew his head to bits. Jade would deny it later.
Past that.
Jade would. I already read it.
I know, it's just funny.
Jade would deny it later, but she wet herself then and there. Not caring about anything else, she grabs the rabbit and runs like frack! All around her, Section 13 agents were being gunned down in decidedly one-sided fights. Where was Jackie? Jackie was a hero! And heroes always knew what to do. They always win, thinks Jade frantically to herself. She turned a corner just as Jackie attacked an assailant with his katana. Bang! The assailant simply leisurely pulls out his gun and shoots him in the head.
Oh,
No!
What?
Screams Jade. She sucks down her tears and continues to run, not noticing that she seemed to be picking up speed. Green sparks flying. She jumps into a trash chute and lands outside in a dumpster. Zap! She looks down at herself, amazed as she suddenly grows up several years to become a teenager.
Damn, that aged her years.
Holy shit.
Which completely destroys her clothes. Mortified, Jade covers her naked body as she streaks super fast through the city, naked, running like the rabbit.
Running like Blinkara.
Hey! No! That was what that talisman was, wasn't it?
The Linkara talisman.
He just has his glasses and his hat.
It has his blunderbuss.
Yeah, that's his gun, of course.
Jackie dead? Section 13 gone? I'm buck naked? How could this get worse? Sadly, poor Jade just invoked good old Murphy. No, not the kid in the sweater vest. Well, that's probably a good thing. Anyway. Miss Hartman sighed. Jade, tardy again. Drew smirked. Big surprise. Jade said she'd bring proof of her stories, and next day she's a no-show. Probably too embarrassed to BOOM! One more thing. You need to pay tax. One more thing. You need to buy the rest. It's a set. One more thing. The customer groans as the crazy old man prattles on and on about what he's selling to them. One more thing. You should really BOOM! Felipe smoked his cigar as San Francisco burned to the ground around him.
What the
A terrible waste.
Holy shit.
Everyone died and Jade is naked.
And in the future. Or just old, I don't know.
I think she's just older.
Okay.
Ooh.
And naked.
I was joking about that, but then it just said she popped out of her clothes, and I don't think that would happen if she went to the future.
No.
Let's see.
She got bigger, so she ripped out of them.
Mhm.
And then friggin' that cartoon universe, when you grow like 10 inches when you go from a kid to a teenager.
Yeah.
You grow and all your clothes rip except for your underwear. Except not in this case because she's buck naked. She said so herself.
It's true. Her head actually became proportional to her body.
I suddenly want to read this guy's book.
It's just the...
I can see your hairy belly button through your shirt.
And look.
I thought you were gonna say something else. Holy shit.
That too.
Mhm.
Patrick, your genius is showing.
Whoa.
Felipe smoked a cigar as San Francisco burned to the ground around him. A terrible waste, but one could not destroy a government organization, not even him, without reprisal. Unless, of course, you have a scapegoat prepared. Done! Shouted Matt Miller, excited. Far as the U.S. government is concerned, they just been invaded by Australia.
Australia.
Felipe nodded. Thanks to the new arrangement, he reached with Shendu. A new age of syndicate domination was assured.
Just burned down San Francisco.
Yeah, it was probably part of Shendu's agreement that Jackie Chan must die.
Jackie Chan forces.
Together we can show the world what we can do.
I'm sure that would actually fit if you sped up the friggin' intro animation.
Jade has the rabbit talisman and has the X button thing, the double boost.
Double boost.
Jade and Johnny Gat. The upcoming meet and greet with the so-called saints almost seemed anticlimactic in comparison. No one noticed the blur leaving the shattered remains of her city. To be continued? It wasn't. That's the end.
I give that a really a really sad end for El Toro out of 10.
I give that 1 out of 3 chains, because that's all that was left.
I can rate this portion of a comment on the story, which just says, "The thought of Australia invading anything is hilarious."
Therapy.
That is pretty funny.
I can imagine Phantom Strider fucking kind of going, howdy, I'm taking over your world. Watch Phantom Strider. Watch top 10 countries Phantom Strider is taking over.
Well, I'm glad we got to see Jade Chan horny in all 3 stories, as we all predicted. Well, I predicted.
Very true, you called it.
It's like, when I initially thought of Jackie Chan Adventures, I didn't think that far ahead. I just thought, hey, this could be pretty funny. Jackie Chan, it's a funny show.
Yeah.
Then I remembered, oh yeah, Jade Chan.
True.
I don't think I saw anything but Jade-focused stories, now that you say that, so...
Yeah.
She's the relatable one.
Mm-hmm. It is what it is. Like, you're gonna come by this with, like, literally anything we read. Just, like, we just happen to really come across a treasure trove. And also, like, yeah, a lot of the friggin' legacy of the show, outside of the few that, like, super remember it, I would imagine is probably just, the characters and her.
Mm-hmm. She's definitely the most lasting part of that series as far as the internet goes.
Yeah, her and the uncle for sure.
We didn't really get in much of the uncle, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I was hoping. I was reading. I wanted to see an uncle-based story so much.
Just him telling somebody about paying tax on his product and then getting his head blown off.
Right. I want to just find one where he's just being an asshole over explaining everything.
One of the, invaders stopped to check out his antique store and buy something, then he started harassing them about taxes, and they shot him.
Well, that's about do it for the rest of us here. Join us next time, where we're going to be kicking off our very epic holiday 4th of July special.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Summer. We get to write our own stories.
That's true. We get to make fun of this hilarious country.
Our last 4th of July story was my favorite thing I've ever written, so I can't wait to write more.
Same, honestly.
Yours is really funny. Also,
God.
yeah.
What about mine?
Everyone's was hilarious.
Yours is a home invader story.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, because they went to the beach and then they cut later in the day, right? Or is it just...
No, that was the beach. That was the summer episode, not the 4th of July
Yeah, that was
episode.
the beach. That was the beach.
That was
day.
all grown up.
Right, but that was their 4th of July one, wasn't it?
No.
No, the beach. That was the beach day one, where like we had Joey versus Undertaker at Bash
Yeah,
at
that's
the beach.
the one I was thinking of. When did we do that one then, if not 4th of July?
That was just a casual episode. We just called it Beach Day or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't remember what my 4th of July one was anymore.
Mm-hmm.
My 4th of July was Code Megas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Megas XLR. Where Coop put a big ladder to look into Jeremy's second story window.
That was hilarious.
That was.
Jeremy's really tall 2nd story window in the, like, community building.
Academy.
Yeah.
It takes me a long time to get down the stairs.
But yeah, rest assured, everybody, we don't take any sort of political stance on the show. We just think it's such a stupid, funny thing to write about. So that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be great. I've already got the ideas in my head turning, and hopefully it turns out into a hilarious story. You better not fucking write Eric Abramov into your fanfic.
I can't make any promises, man. It's already started.
Who's Eric Abramov?
Oh no!